Now it's almost completely empty here in the harbor because it is Super Bowl Sunday. Nobody goes sailing out on Super Bowl Sunday except for me. So this is one of the favorite days for me to go out sailing because there's not a lot of people out. Look at that rare empty beach. There's nobody there because it's Super Bowl Sunday. Beautiful day out there. There are a few boats. Very nice wind. It's blowing, well, it's just 10 knots. But we're moving at 6.1 knots. Not bad. Not bad at all. So that's the reason. Ooh, wow. Big wave just went over the bow. So that's the reason I'm not always looking at the Telltales, because I already pre-measured the apparent wind angle to the Telltales, and all I have to do is read the instruments and it's going to tell me the angle and the Telltale position. I still have to look to see, you know, the sail shape, but because I'm single-handed, there's very little I can do here, and I'm not really racing. If I'm racing, I have to adjust the shape of the sail because it's a little hooked on top and I can't pull it back anymore because it's not a racing sail, so I don't have an adjustment for that. But that's the reason why, because that was a question raised by somebody, is why am I not looking at the Telltales when I'm sailing? I'm just looking at it from the instrument side, because on a modern boat with autopilot, the autopilot is doing the driving, so the apparent wind is tracked by the autopilot. So that's a setting on autopilots nowadays. You have apparent wind angle. So I'm sailing about 6 knots upwind in about 10 knots of wind, which is not bad at all. So that just shows that the trim must be okay, even though this is not a race boat. But you know, it's some obvious stuff to me. In fact, the sail isn't even raised all the way up. I had to use the Cunningham to pull it down. But it's doing nicely here. 6 knots, 6.1 knots in 9 to 10 knots of wind. It's about 14 knots apparent. See there, nobody's driving the boat. Driving itself. And I'm not gonna hit anyone because there's no one here. Hardly any boats around. They're so far away. Like the nearest boats are miles away. Well, there's one there maybe half a mile, but they're all far. So this is actually the first time I've been out sailing this year. It's Super Bowl Sunday. This is actually the first time. So I haven't sailed yet. It's been raining so hard here in California, so I haven't been able to go out, and I've been doing a lot of boat fixing. So yeah, it's great to be out finally. So someone asked why my lines are so messy. Why don't I clean it up when I'm sailing? Okay, obviously when you have crew, you are actually spending all of your time cleaning up the lines. But when you're single-handing, the priority is to worry about what you're doing as a single-hander. So the last thing that I have to worry about are cleaning up the lines. And here's the reason why. When the lines are used the way they're used, they're always on top, and they're not going to get tangled because they're on top. It's just the way you use it. So I don't particularly concern myself too much with that as a single-hander because I know where everything is. Now, if you have a lot of people on the boat, yes, you have to clean it up. You have to flake your lines, and we do that in racing. We have to always flake our lines because they get caught. But in this kind of situation, you know, often I can just throw my lines down on the ground or on the sole, and it's not going to be in the way because I know where it is and I know where to step. It's just habit, you know. So yeah, it seems like we're messy, but it's not really about being messy. So it's just like knowing what's going on. For example, I don't bother putting away the fenders. It's too much work. I'm here by myself. I just lift it up and that's it, because otherwise you're going to be spending your time focusing on the wrong things, and you need to focus on things like things that deal with safety and boat speed and so on. So yeah, you know, it doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to be functional. We do get spoiled with autopilot because, you know, I've been sailing for decades, and autopilot is such a treat. I mean, back in the day, you know, when we're going racing, you have to always keep your eyes on those Telltales, because you every second you take your eyes off the Telltales, you go slow. And boy, that's a hard way to sail if you're cruising. So in the cruising environment, you don't want that. It's autopilot's taking care of business, and on a modern boat, it's very balanced. You don't have to do much. So it becomes easy to single hand, even on a bigger boat like this. Just change tack, make it more interesting. Okay, switch to downwind. Headed back. I've been out a long time. I didn't set up my code 0 today. I just was in a lazy mode. I didn't want to work too hard. So we'll just leisurely sail downwind until we get there. So when I'm coming to the harbor, I always turn on the engine so I can maneuver single-handed. So just for safety, I still have the sails up, or a sail up, but you always have to be thinking ahead. You never know what can happen with traffic. Those like Black Hawks. Another beautiful sail. Thanks for coming with me, guys.